Have you ever experienced a moment so dark that it seemed like everything you believed was being shattered? These are the moments that often reveal our greatest strength and deepest truth. 2019 was a pivotal time for me. It was the moment, the year, when life as I knew it began to dissolve. Everything that I knew was shattered. This period wasn't just difficult, it was the beginning of a complete breakdown of all of my old beliefs and illusions. I experienced really raw emotions: fear, confusion, despair, and it was just really terrifying to confront the reality of what was happening in my life because it involved my children. It wasn't simply a difficult time. It was a deep existential crisis that pushed me to question everything. I felt untethered, as if I was in a free fall, not knowing what was true, what I could trust, or if I could ever rebuild. So let me walk you through the turning point. Trigger warning: this may activate something for you depending on your trauma. But I feel like I have to speak my truth and what happened to me and my family so that I can inspire you and empower you. So one night I had finished putting the little kids to bed, and my daughter comes to me crying. I was sitting in bed watching TV or whatever. I was just zoning out, right? And I remember all of a sudden, it was just my intuition. Remember, this was the year that I was activated. I knew this isn't a normal like cry about like her boyfriend or anything like that. This something is what? Like I snapped on almost. I've always heard my guides my whole life. I just kind of, yeah, that's the voices I hear. But they were very loud this time. And they were like, hey, you don't normally pay attention to us, but listen to us right now because she is about to tell you something that will devastate you. And your life, as you know it, is over. But you are safe. We got you. Listen to us from now on. Because during my healing that I would do in the following years, I realized that I never really listened to them. So they were like, for the love of God, will you start listening to us, please? So she's crying. My heart is racing. My guides are talking to me, and she's bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, what's going on? And all of that. And she shared with me that my husband had been abusing her since she was 8. She was 14 at the time. He was abusing her. He was abusing her younger sister. And she was scared because of the manipulation that he had told her, right? She was scared that we were going to go to jail and, all of that. He did, but I didn't. But anyway, it was a rush of emotions. I was shocked. There was rage, heartbreak, like, my precious baby, you did what to my precious baby? And both of them, right? But there was also some clarity and peace because I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to listen to my guides. This revelation that she shared shattered my previous understanding of the world, but it also opened a door to a whole new way of seeing. And the months and years that followed wasn't just family trauma. We all went through deep spiritual change. This experience forced me to confront my own beliefs, especially the notion of protecting others and standing in truth, because I had to stand up for her. I had to protect her, no matter what it cost me. And this reckoning that I had to find strength, clarity, and I had to realize that protecting my children came with a call to step into my own power. That moment felt like a call from a higher power, a message to prepare myself for transformation. And it was more than just intuition, it was an undeniable encounter with my divine guidance. There was a tension between fear of the unknown and the trust that I felt in my guides, angels, and the divine. Despite the challenges, I began to lean into this guidance and I found a sense of peace amidst the turmoil. So once I got him out of the house and I got everything stable, which took quite a while, I laid in bed for weeks just because I was so like, oh my God, like shattered. But once I finally came to, the synchronicities and the divine signs began appearing in my life. I would get messages. They were talking to me. They were very loud now, and I was listening. I would get symbols and numbers and coincidences, and those just reaffirmed that I was on the right path. Recurring numbers, dreams, encounters with people that served almost as spiritual checkpoints. And they reminded me that I wasn't alone, that I was doing the right thing, I was on the right path. And these moments of divine intervention strengthened my connection to something greater than myself, the divine, because it brought me a sense of peace and assurance that even in the darkness, even in the chaos, I was being guided. So one day I was mindlessly scrolling and I saw an ad for a psychic development course called the Sage Method. And they were like, take it, sign up for it. I didn't have the money really at the time, but they were like, take it. And I'm so glad that I did because that course taught me how to really tap into my intuition. And it just one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And then I met Amber Meyer and I took her Akashic Records certification. And now I'm an Akashic Records reader. I found a lot of answers that helped me in my healing journey in my Akashic Records. And I kind of doubted it because I was raised in a very religious house and that stuff was the devil. But I kind of was like, well, following what I've been raised in hasn't worked so far. My second marriage just crashed, and my children are suffering and traumatized now, and they have a trauma that they will carry the rest of their life. So that's not working for me. Let me try this other thing. So I ultimately chose to follow the call. And the mix of excitement, uncertainty, and relief came with choosing intuition over fear. This choice wasn't just, taking a course. It was a statement to myself that I was ready to step into my power and trust my own intuitive gifts. Most people experience a dark night of the soul. At some point, an event or a series of events pushes them to let go of illusions and step into their true selves. I would encourage you to view these difficult times not as punishments, you are not being punished, but rather as catalysts for growth, transformation, and empowerment. Perhaps you went through a painful breakup, a career crisis, you lost your job, or a loss of a family member or a dear friend that forced you to question everything. These are often the very experiences that awaken us to our true power. I encourage you to think about a personal challenge or a dark night that forced you to confront your beliefs and break free from illusions. This might be a traumatic event, a loss, or a moment when life required you to reassess everything. In your workbook, there's a journal prompt that says, what life challenge or dark night has pushed me to step into my power? I invite you to sit with this question and allow those memories and emotions to surface. Remember, this is a safe place, okay? And recognizing your own turning points in your life is a part of embracing your spiritual journey and reclaiming your strength. Dark nights can feel overwhelming, but on the other side of the darkness lies a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more connected to your purpose. I invite you to affirm, even in darkness, I am guided, supported, and strong. You too have the resilience to transform your darkest moment into a source of power and growth.